The colonel looked at his daughter. He saw the fire in her eyes, the same fire he'd seen when she was a little girl defending a stray kitten. He looked at Jack, who was standing tall, no longer hiding. "A chef, you say?" The colonel finally grunted. "Do you know how to make SOS? The real army stuff." "With my eyes closed, sir," Jack said. "Then get in that kitchen and prove it," the colonel said, sitting back down. "And Janet, put that vacuum away. You're a terrible piper." As Jack rushed to the kitchen, Furley finally emerged from the palm. "So, does this mean the vibrations are good?" "The vibrations are perfect, Ralph." Janet laughed, tears of relief pricking her eyes. The masquerade hadn't ended in disaster. It had ended in a breakfast that smelled like garlic, loyalty, and a future that didn't require any more closets. In apartment 201, the company was no longer a secret. It was a home. Chapter 25. The Drill Sergeant of 201. The colonel's acceptance came with a price, and that price was a 0600 wake-up call. For the next 3 days, apartment 201 was transformed into a boot camp for domesticity. Colonel Wood had decided that if Jack Tripper was going to be part of the unit, he needed to be a sharp part of it. "Tripper, why is this spatula not polished to a high sheen?" the colonel barked, standing over Jack as he attempted to poach an egg. "Why are your slippers not aligned at a 45-degree angle from the bedpost?" Chrissy, still half asleep and wearing a robe that was several sizes too large, saluted with a toothbrush. "Sir, because they're fuzzy, sir. They have a mind of their own." Janet watched from the doorway, nursing a coffee. There was something surreal about seeing her father and Jack in the same kitchen. Jack was currently doing push-ups because he'd forgotten to fold the napkins into military-grade triangles. "Dad, he's a chef, not a paratrooper," Janet pleaded. "A kitchen is a battlefield, Janet. Timing, precision, and a clean workspace, that's how wars are won," the colonel declared. He then turned to Jack. "Get up, Tripper. Let's talk about that gala, Monsieur Henri's daughter, Sonia. Is she a tactical threat?" Jack stood up, wiping sweat from his brow. "She's a culinary critic, Colonel. Her words can sink a restaurant faster than a torpedo." "Then we need a battle plan. You're not just going there as a chef. You're going as a man of substance. And Janet will be your tactical support." Janet felt her heart hammer. "Tactical support? You mean the gala?" "I'm staying for that gala," the colonel announced. "I want to see the Tripper special in action, and I want to see how my daughter represents the family name." Chapter 26. Sonia's Return and the Bitter Glaze. The pressure of the upcoming gala was compounded by the return of Sonia. She arrived at the apartment for a menu finalization session, accompanied by an air of elegance that made the hula lamp look even more out of place than usual. "Jack, darling," Sonia said, gliding across the room and placing a hand on Jack's arm. "Monsieur Henri is insisting on the plum glaze, but I told him it needs a bit more fire, more passion. Like you." Janet, who was currently polishing the coffee table under her father's watchful eye, felt a surge of cold fury. The colonel, sitting in the armchair like a gargoyle, narrowed his eyes. "Fire, you say?" The colonel grunted. "In my experience, too much fire just leads to a scorched earth policy." Sonia looked at the colonel, then back at Jack. "And who is this charming gentleman? Your security detail?" "This is Colonel Roland Wood," Jack said, his voice a pitch higher than usual. "Janet's father. He's the unit commander." "Fascinating," Sonia purred. "Well, Jack, let's go to the kitchen. I want to see you work that fire." As they retreated, Janet found herself standing next to her father. They both stared at the kitchen door. "She's making a move on your perimeter, Janet," the colonel whispered. "I know, Dad," Janet sighed. "But what am I supposed to do? I'm just tactical support, remember?" "Nonsense. A good officer knows when to counterattack. You're not tactical support. You're the objective. Now, go in there and give that critic something to think about." Janet grabbed a bowl of sunflowers and marched into the kitchen. "Jack, I thought these might provide a bit of wholesome inspiration for the table setting." Sonia's smile didn't reach her eyes. They're hardy, Janet replied, meeting Sonia's gaze. They can survive a lot of heat. Chapter 27. A tactical error. The night before the gala, Larry Dallas decided to help Jack one last time. He cornered Jack at the Regal Beagle, while the colonel was busy inspecting the building's fire escape with Ralph Furley. Jack, you need an edge, Larry whispered. Sonia likes fire, but she loves mystery. I've got a guy who can get you some vintage Romanian saffron. It's illegal, it's rare, and one pinch will make Monsieur Henri weep with joy. Larry, I don't want illegal saffron, Jack groaned. It's not illegal, it's just untaxed. If you use it, Sonia will be so impressed she'll give you a glowing review before you even plate the dessert. Naturally, Jack bought the saffron. Naturally, it was actually a highly potent Romanian herbal supplement meant for invigorating elderly horses. Back at the apartment, Jack decided to do a test batch of the glaze. The smell that filled the apartment was not of plums or passion. It smelled like a damp stable in the middle of a lightning storm. "Tripper, what is that odor?" the colonel shouted, rushing into the kitchen. "It smells like chemical warfare. It's the secret ingredient," Jack shouted, frantically trying to open the windows. Chrissy walked in, took one sniff, and immediately began to sneeze. "It feels like my nose is doing the hula." Janet grabbed the pot and threw it into the sink. "Jack, what did Larry give you?" "Saffron," Jack wailed. "Romanian saffron." The colonel took the jar, inspected the label with his magnifying glass, and began to laugh, a deep, booming sound that shook the cabinets. "Tripper, you idiot. This isn't saffron. This is Mustang Medallion. It's meant to make a stallion run 50 miles without water. If you'd served this at the gala, you'd have had the elite of Santa Monica jumping over the tables." Chapter 28. The Heart of the Home. The morning of the gala arrived. The Mustang Medallion incident had, strangely, broken the last of the tension. The colonel had spent the night helping Jack scrub the kitchen, sharing stories of jungle rot and bad rations while they worked. As Janet and Chrissy helped Jack load the supplies into the van, the colonel pulled Jack aside. "You're a clumsy man, Tripper," the colonel said, his voice unusually quiet. "You trip over shadows, and you listen to advice from men who should be in a stockade." "Yes, sir," Jack said, looking at his feet. "But," the colonel continued, placing a heavy hand on Jack's shoulder, "I saw the way you looked at my daughter when you thought I wasn't watching, and I saw the way she looked at you when you were doing push-ups on my orders. You're a good man, Jack. A bit of a mess, but a good man." Jack looked up, surprised. "Thank you, Colonel. And don't listen to that Sonia woman. She's all garnish, and no protein." The colonel turned to Janet. "I'm heading out, Janet. I've seen enough. Your perimeter is secure. And the bagpipes. Keep practicing. You'll get better." He gave her a firm hug and a salute, then tipped his hat to Chrissy. As his gray sedan pulled away, the three of them stood on the curb, the Santa Monica sun finally beginning to feel like a warm friend again. "He likes us," Chrissy whispered. "He really likes us." "He likes you, Chrissy," Jack laughed. "He tolerated me. But for the colonel, that's practically a marriage proposal." Janet looked at Jack, then back at the apartment. The masquerade wasn't over. They still had Furley and Larry and the rest of the world to contend with. But as they headed back up to 201 to prepare for the biggest night of Jack's life, it didn't feel like they were hiding anymore. "Jack?" Janet said, pausing at the door. "Yeah? About that Mustang glaze. If we ever go on a yacht, maybe we should bring a jar for Larry." "Consider it done, Janet. Consider it done." Chapter 29. The Gala at Le Panache. The chandeliers of Le Panache sparkled like frozen tears, casting a brilliant light over the velvet curtains and the hushed, tuxedoed crowd. Jack was in the kitchen, a whirlwind of white cotton and focused energy. Tonight, he wasn't just a student, he was the primary architect of the evening's centerpiece. Janet stood in the doorway, wearing a dress that matched the deep violet of the Santa Monica twilight. She looked less like tactical support and more like the guest of honor. "The room is full, Jack," Janet whispered, stepping into the stainless steel sanctuary. Monsieur Henri is pacing like a caged tiger, and Sonia, she's at the center table, sharpened her pen like a dagger. Jack paused, a silver spoon hovering over a pot of reduction. I'm ready, Janet. No horse supplements, no fake bagpipes, just the food. And us, she added, her hand brushing his arm. The service was a blur. Dish after dish left the kitchen to the rhythmic clinking of silverware. Then came the moment, the Tripper special.